Okay, we're on to Don. Number four,
Yeah,
mate.
that's me. Okay, here's a band. I've never talked about them on this channel before because even though they are very heavy and they can be quite heavy in places, they are kind of put into quote unquote emo-ish scene, I guess. But they're more like a modern day Rush to me. This is Coheed and Cambria. The singer, these are also graphic novels. So if you want, oh, his big hair. Okay, yeah, his big hair. Yeah, it's too bad because he's got a very high voice, but so did Geddy Lee. You know what I mean? But he can't. He also sounds like the girl singer from Paramore sometimes. I think. But you know, it's melodic, and as I said, some of these tracks on their albums are quite long. I think the longest one on here is 8 minutes long, something. So they're very involved. Can be very heavy riffy. So get ready for this. So this is from 2007. The album I picked was Good Apollo, I'm Burning For, Volume 2, No World for Tomorrow.
Wow.
That's the album.
Yeah, I got that one.
Now, this is a sequel to the previous, to 2005, Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Volume 1, From Fear Through the Eyes of Madness. So they've thought a little bit about this. And they also have a graphic novel as well for all of these. This is actually the fourth album of the band's Armory Wars narrative. So take what you will. This debuted at number 6 on Billboard, so I mean, popular band. Popular band. And a little bit of I just quote a little bit of a review I read. It says, the band infused their expansive music with enough grit and melody that you don't give a hoot what about the Hound of Blood and Rank is about. So basically you can enjoy it without having to, you know, read the graphic novel and everything. But you know, it's not a million miles away from 2112 or, you know, any of those, but it is infused with like a younger kind of you know, 2000s rock era. But yeah, terrific band. Really like Coheed and Cambria.
Well, I've just added another one to our list of future shows' most ridiculous album titles.
Well, that certainly is gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, mate.
It's got to fill the full cover.
Yeah, it must do. It must do. And what about the spine on the album? It must like go from one end to the other. Like.
Yeah, you know, I don't remember what the CD looked, what the corner looked like. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
There you go.
Thank you very much for that. We're on to Ralph.
Yeah. So my number 4 is from a group that exists since 1983, but had a couple of breaks in between and quite a couple of albums as well. And they very, very positively surprised me in this year with an album that was also lined with a comic book and also a 15-minute documentary of the making and explaining the storyline. The band is called Jack Panzer, and the album is called The Hallowed. Just came out a couple of months ago, and the storyline goes like this: is that there's a group of people trying to survive in a sort of post-apocalyptic world, which is completely frozen. And they are aligned with a team of animals that are also trained, and they come with them. And these trained animals look for a place called that is called The Hallowed. And the interesting thing is that this whole album is told from the perspective of the animals. So that's quite an interesting sort of turn of the lyrics, I have to say. The album is nicely heavy, very good riffing, and there are 2 tracks that I really like an awful lot. One is called Stronger Than You Know, and the other one is called The Renewed Flame, which also gives you a hint about the outcome of all of that search for the Hallowed. So Jack Panzer, The Hallowed from 2023, great book, comic book, great album, comic book, and also the documentary is very worthwhile looking at.
Wow.
Yeah, some great music off of that album. Some great guitar work as well, man. Really, really good, great guitar work on that album. Very cool. Thank you, Ralph. Cheers for that. And
I
very
like
cool.
that the animals sing.
Yes, I think the animals should always take the forefront of any story. So,
Sure.
no, very cool. Cheers, Ralph. Thank you very much for that. I believe we're Karen.
Yes, somebody's got to do this. You can't have a program about rock concept albums and not mention Pink Floyd. And we're going to continue the animals theme. Go to 1977 with animals. I could have been really predictable and picked The Wall, which I probably just do love a little bit more, but thought, no, we're going to talk about animals. It's still an absolutely incredible album. It is, of course, it's their 10th studio album, and it's set in a dystopian world, and it is loosely based on the story of Animal Farm. I think it's a very dark, angry critique of capitalism. It's like a little sandwich. You've got kind of this short acoustic track at the beginning, Pigs on the Wing, part 1. Then you've got 3 long tracks in the middle from like 10 to 17 minutes long about, dogs, autocrats. The dogs are the autocrats. There's tyrannical pigs and there's mindless sheep. And then you've got the second part, Pigs on the Wing, at the end. I absolutely love this album. I find it impossible to pick what my favourite Floyd album is. There's about 5 that sort of have joint first place. The Wall might just edge it slightly, but you can't have a program about concept albums and not mention Pink Floyd. So there we go. Animals by Floyd.
Cool.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Karen. They don't probably get spoken up. This is me just being a nice person here, because I am such a nice person. We probably don't mention Pink Floyd enough between us all. And I don't mean me, because I don't know anything about them, but between the group of people that come on the channel, they do.
Iridiots, they're called. Yeah.
You do. Yeah, you lot. You are idiots. Yeah. They do need to be spoken about, because they are so important in rock.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, especially in prog rock. Thank you very much, Karen. I believe we're at Jam. Come on, Jam.
We are, aren't we? Yeah. Next obvious one. I think Karen might have my prop if she's got it with it. Okay, there we go. This is Wasp, of course, from their 5th album, Crimson Idol, 1992, released on Parlophone. Although it was actually written as a Blackie Lawless solo album. It originally wanted to release it. I think the record label insisted he recorded it as Wasp. I think Chris Holmes does play on this, though, I believe. Because obviously Chainsaw Charlie, I think, is sort of his signature sort of song. But yeah, I mean, what an album this is. I mean, I love Wasp. I like the serious Wasp, actually. I like the original stuff. Love it. And I love the new stuff, which is great as well. But when they got serious, Headless Children's my favourite album, probably, more than this. This is certainly up there, though. I love this album. The story is basically of Jonathan Steele. He's got an older brother who his parents, is the apple of their eye. Is his older brother. He's a bit of the run to the litter. They don't really care for him. Necessarily his brother's everything, and then he gets killed by a drunk driver. And for them, they wish it was Jonathan rather than his older brother Michael. So he gets no love there. He runs away from home, turns to drinking drugs. He's out on the streets, and then one day he has an epiphany, if you like. He sees this crimson guitar in the window of a shop, smashes the window, steals the guitar, and obviously learns how to play. Obviously, many years later, he gets noticed by Chainsaw Charlie, who was a record label executive, and Alex Rodman becomes his manager, and he becomes a huge rock star. But with all the accolades and that, it's not fulfilling for him. He still craves the love of his parents. And one day he decides to call them up and see how they're going. And he has a conversation that lasts like 50 words. and they end by saying, "We have no son," basically, and he then goes on the stage and pulls his guitar strings off and hangs himself on stage. So yeah, bit of a tragedy. There you go. Great songs on there. Sorry, Arena of Pleasure is a fantastic song. Chase or Charlie, Dr. Rocker, and The Idol, brilliant.
Where's the film? Where's the film?
Well, there is a film. There's on that DVD that Karen's got there. She's borrowed. It's got like they've actually made all the clips and stuff. And it's made into like a feature film.
Wow.
You can get it. Yeah.
Oh, that's the reimagined or something or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Re-idolized. Re-idolized, was it?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll check
I
it
don't know about you lot, but sometimes I'm sick of happy endings in films, especially. So it's nice sometimes to have something, you know, a bit darker, isn't it? So what do you expect from fucking Wasp as well? So
great album, great album, great
brilliant,
song.
mate. Thank you very much. I think it's cool that no, we're not at the end now. But we're talking about things that maybe people haven't heard of, and I'm glad you're touching upon the ones that are more obvious. I think it's a fucking good thing as well. So thank you very much, Jan, for that. It's me, innit?
Yeah.
Right, I'll make it quick. I didn't know if you was going to have this, Jam. I'm hoping you don't in your fifth. But
Doubtful.
It's another double feature, if you like. But I will mention them quick together. I know Dom definitely won't have this, but this is Stone Sour, House of Golden Bones, Part 1 and 2. This is for me where Corey Taylor definitely excels for me is in Stone Sour for sure. They don't look like Slipknot can be together too much longer anyway, but I don't really care for them that much. These albums came out 2012, 2013. I love the first one more than the second one, although apparently they were written and recorded together. There's a massive difference in quality. Well, not a massive difference. I do like both, but the first one is definitely the better one for me. I didn't really look too much again into the story. It doesn't actually give you too much depth if you go online and look. Corey Taylor doesn't give too much away either about the story, so that didn't fucking help, did it? Really, in my plight for interesting things to talk about. But some of the brilliant tracks on here on the first album, Absolute Zero is a fucking absolute banger, to tell you the truth. The Travelers, I love the way that's Part 1 and Part 2 are divided on an album. Tired is a brilliant song. On the second album, Do Me a Favor, The Conflagration, whatever you call it, and House of Golden Bones. And it's really cool because you can be listening to like the second track, I think, which is Absolute Zero, and then there's parts of that will be on another track later on, or the same sort of riff on purpose, obviously, because it's a concept album. So you get this feel that it is a concept. Do you know what I mean? Musically, it fits really well. But I think it's just the easy pinnacle of Stone Sour for sure, and Corey Taylor's career for me. Intelligent songwriting, which you can't always say that about Corey Taylor. But Stone Sour, House of Golden Bones, Part 1 and Part 2. Number 5, guys. Dom.
You've got me curious now about that. I might actually have to take a listen.
I think that if anything is going to grab you, it'd be especially, well, both albums probably.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe
it's almost got for me, it's almost got a Queensryche feel to it at times as well with the guitar work and stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. There you go.
All right. Well,
let me
my
know.
number 5 is okay. I will. My number 5 is one that I'll admit I didn't know was a concept album until I looked at that fucking Wikipedia list, and then it had a link to the album, and it actually says that it's a concept according to the band. So this is my throwing my card in the pile of Steven Wilson albums. This is a band, his side project called Blackfield. This is Blackfield number 5. Now, Blackfield is Steven Wilson and an Israeli singer named Aviv Geffen. They have 6 albums out. This is their 5th, obviously, Blackfield 5. Don't know how to describe it. It's kind of, I'm not going to pretend it's the heaviest thing on earth, but there are some guitars in there. Obviously, with Steven Wilson, he's a great player. But it's more along the Floyd, maybe early Peter Gabriel, that kind of melodic, but still rock, still rock music. Just some of the songs are so beautiful, just fantastic stuff. Now, Blackfield, the first 2 albums, it was definitely a collaboration between the two. And then on the third and fourth albums, Steven Wilson kind of took a step back, still helped with production stuff, but didn't quite co-write all the songs and things like that. He was busy making the albums that Karen had talked about earlier, same time frame. But he came back for Blackfield 5, so everybody was like, oh, Steven Wilson's back, fantastic. And it is great. I don't dislike any of their albums. Yeah, this was kind of like a thing. Now, what I did not know is that Alan Parsons, who worked with Floyd, was co-producer on a few tracks on this album. So that's kind of cool. I didn't know they recruited him. And finally, just the band describes the album as a loose concept album themed around the ocean and the cycle of life, flowing across 13 tracks. So it's a loose concept album, but it's nice that I can talk about Blackfield and hopefully maybe turn somebody onto it. It's I guess what you would call neo-prog, but it doesn't get very whittly. It's all song-based, you know. It's great. I love Blackfield. I like all their albums. So Blackfield 5, Steven Wilson.
Thanks,
Great
mate.
album. Yeah,
Oh,
I love Blackfield too.
Yeah. I'll see you nodding there, Karen, in approval.
Yeah, absolutely love that.
An absolutely fantastic list. Thank you very much, Dom, and all the work put into it. I know
Easily. Thank you so much.
I know for all of you, there's more work being put into this probably than most of some of our shows we do. So thank you very much. Ralph, what you got there, mate?
Yeah, my last one is actually an album that came out in 2011, and there's so much to tell about it. It's called Human Remains. It's from the band Hell. And
yeah,
that band actually already existed from 1982 to 1986, and they recorded a couple of EPs, I think, and cassettes and stuff like that, but weren't scoring a major record deal. And the band came more or less to an end in 1987 when their original singer David Halliday committed suicide. And it was sort of like put on hold and nothing happened until 2011, where suddenly that album came out, Human Remains. And there are a couple of things that are very worthwhile telling. First of all, Andy Sneap, which we know as a producer, but also Judas Priest guitarist at the moment, has taken the project back on, and he worked on it like a side project for about 3 years to really put it all together. And it came out and became album of the year of various labels. So that says something about the quality of the album. It is possibly not really a concept album. I do think it is, because it covers all different themes of what people thought about or were trapped into or got abused with in medieval times, just because they didn't know better. And you also see that a lot of the titles of the songs. For example, Plague and Fire is one, Blasphemy and the Master is another one, The Quest, which is also one that I recommend to. He actually did a reaction on The Quest. Yeah, Macbeth is another one, and then there's one, Save Us from Those That Would Save Us, which is also a very strong title. And there are a lot of spoken and sort of interludes in between the songs that makes it feel to be a real concept album about medieval times. What I would like to mention are 2 or 3 things. The proceeds of the album, of the 5 musicians, are actually are parted into 6 parts, and the 6th part goes to the family of David Halliday, who committed suicide in 1987, which I think is worthwhile mentioning. And very out of curiosity, the album length is 66 minutes and 6 seconds. One more, if you download it, it's 666 megabytes.
Wow.
So yeah, it's it's a love or hate album, because the sung lyrics are, you can actually think about the schizophrenic person singing, with very dystopian sort of like ways of singing. and the singer is actually the brother of the other guitarist, and who's an actor and a singer. And
Yeah.
for me, it's the impersonification of that horror that people lived through during those times. And I think it's perfectly sung. But I know that there are many who wouldn't like it because of the way it is sung. But I can strongly recommend it. Test it out. Human Remains by Hell from 2011.
I remember when that album came out, I heard the story of it and was intrigued, so I listened to it. And they were actually on the download bill that year, so I saw him, and the actor fella comes out. He's got like crown of thorns on and all sorts of things. So it's they're really good. Yeah, really good album.
Yeah, I've listened to more of the album as well. It's a brilliant album actually, and yeah, excellent. Thanks, Ralph, and thanks for all the. We're going to go through some honorable mentions. Anyone's got any? But thank you for your list of 5, mate. It's outstanding. Thank you. Okay, Karen.
Yeah, I'm going back to 1994 again. I don't even know how to begin conveying how I feel about this album. It's my favorite ever concept album, and it's one of my favorite albums of all time. It is by Marillion, of course, and it's called Brave. It is just the most incredibly powerful album. It's based on a story that I believe was a news story in the 70s that Steve Hogarth kind of heard about, and is a woman was found wandering on the Severn Bridge, and she wouldn't speak, she wouldn't tell anyone who she was or where she'd come from, and the police put out a national sort of made it a national story, and her family came to reclaim her. And Steve Hogarth kind of filed it away, I think, for future reference, and he wrote an album about this, and but imagining the sort of situation that girl might have come from, she's come from quite a damaging, kind of very unhappy family situation, and sort of running away from home, and it's a. Wow, this is a bleak album. It followed Holidays in Eden, which Marillion made, was kind of quite a poppy kind of rock album. Number of tracks got in the charts, and then they made this, and a lot of fans were like, "Whoa, what the hell's going on?" Actually, since then, it has become rightly, I think, recognised as a real prog rock classic. It really draws you in. The story, it's incredibly powerful. Lyrics are phenomenal. I love lyrics myself. Steve Hogarth is one of my favourite lyricists, and it is an album that you really feel. And I can't imagine my life without this album. Actually, it's that important to me. And anybody who's never heard it, go and play The Great Escape, turned up to 11 when you're lying down in a dark room. It's just phenomenal. My whole life comes to standstill. Oh, wow. My life comes to standstill when that song comes on. I have to stop whatever I'm doing, and I just have to sit and listen to it. It's the most incredible thing. Brave by Marillion.
I tell you what, Karen, I don't think there's anyone on this channel that can talk about music the way you do, and you honestly, for me, it sounds like you could cry any second about music, and that's just amazing.
Yep. I can cry at TV adverts, so you can imagine what I'm like with music that really moves me. Yeah,
it's hard to describe the way you feel about music, isn't it? But I think you do it perfectly, and I don't think there's anyone that can explain something and make. I mean, look, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to go and listen to Marillion right now, right? But if anyone could make me listen to something, it'd probably be you. So there you go. But no, brilliant. Yeah, brilliant list. Thank you very much, Karen. Much appreciated. Excellent list as usual. And then we're down to Jan. Have you got something unusual to show us, Jan?
I haven't got anything to show you, but I don't know how I can follow that up, really. I mean, obviously, I'm just going to talk in my normal way, really. But no, I'm going heavy. I'm going heavy for my last one. We're going to 1999. We're going progressive metal, death metal, possibly Opeth. This is the album before the the groundbreaking Blackwater Park, and This Is Still Life, which is their 4th album. Yeah, great. And the story is basically, it's not another not happy story, but basically it's all about, it's got an anti-Christian theme, but not necessarily satanic. It's anti-Christian, anti-religion type theme. And basically the main character, I don't think he has a name, has different views to the rest of his village, or if you like, they're all very highly into religion, and he doesn't feel that way, and he gets banished from his village, if you like. Years later, he comes back to rekindle a romance with his flame from before, called Melinda, the love of his life. But the council, as they're called, don't like him coming back to the village, and they do everything to stop this going ahead, and all gets nasty and lots of horrible things happen. And Melinda ends up getting killed. So that the main character then takes his revenge on the village and does some horrible things, but he gets caught, and in the end he gets executed. And then in the last song, called White Cluster, he gets to spend the afterlife with his Melinda in the next world, if there is one. But I mean, it's a great song. The More is a classic opus song, 11 minutes of it. Face of Melinda, obviously, that's sort of a softer one. Serenity Painted Death, another 9-minute metal opus. I mean, yeah, there's obviously death growls in here, and it's not quite as opus are now, but there's still some musical passages that all you guys would like, but obviously you're not going to like some of the singing. But great album.
And that's another
some
film
think
that
it's
I would
Opus
watch.
best album.
Yeah,
Sorry?
I would. Yeah, I'll watch that.
That's
as well,
another
yeah.
film I would watch.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be a good story. But
I love that folk horror shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
Wicker Man and all that weird.
I mean, I suppose would the ending of the story more enough be that he wasn't religious, he didn't believe in it, but he spent the time with his.
Well, exactly. I thought it was a bit strange he goes into the afterlife if he doesn't believe in that, but then again, that's what the story says, supposedly.
He was proved wrong, wasn't he?
Well, exactly. But I mean, yeah, Opeth, great. I mean, some people think this is Opeth's best album. Some people think it's better than Blackwater.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Cam. Absolutely amazing. Again, all of you, absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. So my last one, I've got to go to this band. I know they've done a few concept albums. It's Iced Earth. Of course, it's Iced Earth.
Of course. Oh my God. What was I? Didn't even think. Oh man.
I was waiting for this.
Yeah.
I could have chosen. I could have chosen a few. And when I said at the beginning, there's some bands that have brought out, are they concept albums? And then there's parts of concepts. Iced Earth are one of them bands. So the actual album I'm going to choose is The Glorious Burden, which I could have chosen many, and I looked at this one.
Oh, I was waiting for something Wicked This Way Comes.
Wicked This Way Comes.
I'm going to mention that, but the Glorious Burden is the 7th album, and I didn't know it's an actual concept album because it's about everyone is about war, but I didn't know, because for instance, if you go on and look at Maiden's concept album, or what I thought was similar to this, A Matter of Life and Death. Jam, talking to you, Jam, because I know that's not one of your favourites, but you go on and look at Wiki if it's a concept album, it says it's not, although everyone is about war, but it says this is actually,
and with the cover and everything, with the tank and everything, you think it's
so, but this one apparently is classed as a concept album. It is all about war, mainly set in American Civil War. River Owens joined the band at this point, and I just think it's probably his best vocal performance. 7th album, like I said, and this is rounded off by the Gettysburg trilogy, which is the 3-part one that Mr. Mark Clower keeps talking about, which is like 30-40 minutes long, and it's just outstanding. And I think this is actually when I got into Iced Earth as well at this point, and then I went back, and then the rest is history. But just a brilliant album, outstanding from beginning to end. And another one, and I know I keep tacking things on the end, but another one was The Horror Show, which was a brilliant Iced Earth album as well, which took characters of horror, mainly film and book, really. Which I love. It was just before that album, actually. It's a 6th album, so it was the old singer and Damien, the song that shits me up, that's on there. Frankenstein, Dracula, all them, they're the titles of the song, and just every song is excellent as well. That was 2001, and the actual, as we know, the Something Wicked This Way Comes, saga, as they call it.
Yeah.
That's now I wanted to talk about Something Wicked This Way Comes album, and I thought that was a concept album because I thought I really want to speak about that. And when I looked into it, it's just the 3 tracks on the end. That was the start of this obsession for fucking.
Oh, and then the thread goes through the rest of it.
And then he brought out The Framing Armageddon, which was with Tim Ripper Owens, which is a proper concept album. Don't like it that much. It's got 30 tracks and fucking 12 of them are a minute long. It's one of them sort of albums. And then they brought back Matt Barlow for the second part of Something Wicked This Way Comes, full album. And then they got the half of the Something Wicked This Way Comes on the Fingers ain't fucking original, for fuck's sake. But one thing's for sure, he's not going to come back and do another one. You know,
No.
that's for sure. But
I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't bet on that.
Well, when Trump gets back in office, they might release.
Yeah, get pardoned. Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
He doesn't have that long of a sentence, does he?
I
don't know.
I don't think you really know. I think he's basically giving. They're using him, and he's grassed everyone up. He's giving info to get fucking light a sentence, basically. You know.
But just think of all the concept albums that he's written while he's in jail.
Something wicked, fucking probably.
Something come in some way anyway. In prison.
But apart from all the politics surrounding him, not I stuff, because you can't say it's about them. You can't say it's him because you know what happened to the band after. But
yeah,
they are one brilliant band, and I real fucking shame more for me that I just didn't get any more. And I was at the height of like they are one of my favourite bands, and then this fucking idiot goes and does that. What a twat. Anyway, okay. Any honourable mentions from Dom?
No.
Any honourable mentions from Ralph?
I just had one, and I don't know if it's really can be called a concept album. It would be Queen Flash Gordon.
Okay.
Is it? I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard the full album.
Well, it's soundtrack to a film.
Of course,
so
yeah.
There would be a thread through it, but
yeah,
don't know.
I don't know.
There is a thread, yeah. So,
well worth talking about that, mate. Yeah. I do love the film, even though it's so bad now. I loved it back then. I loved the film back then.
I think I saw it 3 times in the cinema.
I must have saw it at least 3 times in the cinema.
Yeah.
So, no. Cheers. Thanks much for that, Ralph. Thank you very much. Karen, you got any?
I've got a few. Yes, some of them have been spoken about. Still Life by Opeth was on there. Crimson Idol by Wasp, of course. That's my favourite Wasp album. And Seventh Son by Iron Maiden were all in my honourable mentions. Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater. Quadrophenia by The Who.
Oh, boy.
A Day at the Beach by the Norwegian prog rock band Airbag. Misplaced Childhood, of course, by Marillion. I put 2112, even though it's only half a concept album, by Rush. Clockwork Angels by Rush. Lamb Lies Down on Broadway by Genesis. Whether you like them or not, it's a great album and it's highly influential. Kid A by Radiohead is a concept album. Silence from Signals by the British prog rock band Paradox Twin, Leviathan by Mastodon, and actually the album that is probably going to be my favourite album of this year, I think, War of Being by Tesseract, prog metal masterpiece that is, really. That's mine.
Is that it?
That's it, yeah.
Oh, just a few.
Thank you very much, Karen. I knew this would be a bit of you, this show.
Yeah, this is made
I've
for
loved it.
Okay, so I've only got 2. I've got The Dark Horde, which was a horror concept album that came out a couple of years ago.
You didn't ask Jam, did you?
Oh, fuck.
yeah.
Hey, you do. I'll do mine after. I've only got a couple anyway.
All right, okay. I'll let Jam go last because he's always best to finish off with Jam. Sorry, mate. It's
Right.
you know it's the
I
squares.
know,
It's,
it's
good.
some old shuffle.
It's no personal thing. All right, it's just
No,
the
it's fine.
squares. It's the squares. That's
It's like a fucking game show.
it.
You have
Fucking
to remember
celeb-
concentration or whatever.
Presses the buzzer first, huh? Who presses the buzzer?
I know. So yeah, The Dark Horde was an Australian concept album that I reviewed a few years ago, and I loved it. Brilliant metal album. There's some spoken bits in there, some acting as well. Great. Would make a great film as well. Apparently, the second one they're working on that. And I mean, one that I don't think is his best album, and that I listened to at a late stage, Magica, Ronnie James Dio, of course.
Yes.
You know, and that's the one that's got the massive fucking talking bit on the end, isn't it? It's got like a half hour.
I just couldn't. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I know. They're musically, you know, people just because it's a concept album, people say it's. I think it elevates it sometimes for people, doesn't it? And
Yeah.
people say maybe an album's better than it actually is because it's a concept and they look at it in a different way. I think sometimes, but yeah,
And I
definitely.
saw him on that tour, and he did the whole thing.
Oh fuck! Bad memories. Bad memories for you. But you know, it's Ronnie, man. His voice never fucking changed, though. That's
Of
one
course,
thing
you know.
Ronnie,
God love him.
was the best. Okay, that's my honourables. Jam, apologies, mate, but
Right.
we love hearing your voice, Lars. So here you go.
Okay, thank you. No, they've already been mentioned anyway. I mean, the Who Quadrophenia is definitely up there. Love the album. I prefer it to Tommy. I think there's better songs on it, and obviously the film's great and all that. And obviously Pink Floyd, as we mentioned, you can't have Prog without having The Wall. Not my favourite Pink Floyd album though. Probably not even my second favourite. I do. I mean, Dark Side of the Moon. Some people think that's a progressive, a concept album. Not sure. Dark Side of the Moon is awesome, and it's my favourite album. But yeah. The Wall is great, but yeah, not my favourite, but a great album. And that.
I was going to think I'd let you go last because Karen says you always like you always like the last fucking word. Apparently, Karen said that's why you was last.
It's not a personal thing.
I think he missed it.
Yeah, he did. Well, he hear it when he plays it back. That'd be fine. I'll keep that one in. So there you go. You all right, Jam?
Yeah, I've lost sound there. I don't know what happened there.
You okay now?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Did you not get any of that?
Yeah, we got it.
Oh.
We got it. Don't worry. You have to play it back. Watch till the end when I put it up in case you don't watch it. All right?
Yeah. It was a perfect time for your sound to go. I'll just give you that.
Okay.
Liam's being a prick.
All right. Guys, listen, thank you very much. I know it's been a while. We might split this into two, depending on how long it actually turns out. But I know how much work, like I said, has gone into this one, probably more than any. Looking at storylines as well. We don't usually do that stuff. So thank you very much for joining me. It shows how hard it was because we was going to have more of a chat. More of the iridiots were invited onto this, but they found it too hard, the amount of albums to get ready for this. So mind you, fucking, it would have been a 3-hour show if they all turned up, wouldn't it? So perhaps that's a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, yeah, exactly. Guys,
like
thank you very much.
Concept album trilogy.
exactly. Guys, it's been a pleasure. Anyone watching the show, what's your favorite concept albums in the?
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Put it below what you like about them. Maybe a loose story, maybe line in the comments, but don't type for too fucking long. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers, and I'll see you later.
See ya.